This is going to be a session for sciatica pain, posterior hip pain during an injury or after a surgery on the lumbar spine. So come on your back, facing upwards on a mat or on the carpet or on the floor. The first thing we're going to do is simply breathe here. You can do one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. Take a few breaths in and out. Relaxing into the floor. Keep your hands. Bring the knees in so that they're touching. And then just walk your feet out as wide as you're comfortable. Toes in, heels out. And simply just let the knees fall in. This is passively, internally rotating the femur, the upper thigh bone, into the hip socket to stretch the external rotators. You can adjust here if you need to. You could walk your feet forward, away from you. You could set them back farther. None of these exercises should give you any pain. Just breathing here into the belly. If you want to maybe go a little bit wider, you can just check. It might be different day to day. Toes in, heels out, internally rotating, letting the legs fall towards each other. If you want to give it a little gentle squeeze of the knees here to engage the adductors, the inner thighs, we'll just hold this for a few more breaths. And when you're ready, you simply will just walk your feet in towards each other, but keep the heels separated, toes in. So we have the heels about hip width apart, more or less. The knees are squeezing together. You could keep your hands here in the belly and the chest, or you could bring your hands down to the sides, shoulders down towards the floor. Take an inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the knees gently and lift the hips up into a bridge to your own degree, slowly. Try to keep your chin tucked in to lengthen the back of the neck, and you're only going to lift as high as you feel safe and comfortable, and only holding it for the amount of time that feels right for you. Exhaling down all the way till the sacrum touches. We're going to inhale on this resting position. Exhale, press the feet, gently engage the glutes, the low back is keeping the knees touching, keeping the chin tucked in, keeping the shoulders down, going up to your own degree, taking an inhale up here. Exhale slowly, you're gonna roll down the back till the point that you feel maybe you can't roll any farther. Whether it is through an injury or spinal fusion, you just simply allow it to come down naturally. Sacrum touches down. Inhale here. Exhale, press it up. Your breath could also be a little slower if you want, or faster. It's really up to you. You can do 2 breaths per cycle. You could do 4. Usually moving slower is going to be better. It's going to give you better proprioception, better muscle control, more awareness of where are the spaces that feel tight or painful. Let's do it one more time. Keeping those knees together. And rolling down on the exhale. Once the sacrum touches down, you're going to squeeze your abdominals, squeeze your hip flexors, and bring the knees in. We're not going to force the knees with the hands. We're simply going to squeeze them naturally, engaging the front muscles to soften the back muscles. Squeeze the front to soften the back. If you want to guide the legs gently, you can leave a little extra squeeze, but not too much. And then slowly, again with core strength, let the feet touch down. Yeah. Reset here, make sure everything feels okay. Last exercise here, we're going to one leg at a time, straighten that leg, keep the heel close to the ground. Straighten as far as you can, squeeze your quad gently, flex the ankle, toes pointing straight up, and then again with little weight on the heel, coming back, you're going to squeeze the knees when the feet are next to each other, and then simply flex the ankle, hover that heel, send it out, engaging the front hip flexor long, lengthening the hamstring, squeezing the quad short, flexing the ankle, and retrieving it. Squeeze the knees, adductor engagement, switching sides, slow with control. Now the key here is we're checking range of movement, and we're checking also any pain through or from contractions and stretches of anything that's connected to the injury site. In this case would be the lower back. So we're flexing and contracting the hip flexors, we're squeezing the quad, we're lengthening the hamstring, we're having our core stabilizing. So all these things require tension and also flexibility and range of motion of the waistband and the lumbar region. Okay, so we did plenty of this. Once you feel that you're pretty even, we're gonna simply come back, reset. We're gonna take one bridge here to get a sense of opening, and then exhaling down to release. Now we're gonna go into the second half of the workout, which is gonna be on our belly side. So facing down. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set up the legs. Now the forehead is touching the ground, but if you see me turning the head towards the camera, remember that I want you with your neck looking straight, forehead down. Here we're going to squeeze the toes, separate the heels again, getting a sense of turning the legs in. Flex the ankle and just float it off the ground. The position of the legs to start is simply long tension hamstrings. So we're not bending the knees at 90 degrees, much less all the way here. We're keeping it as long as we can without putting any weight on our toes. Hands are by the side of the ears, resting down, the forehead is on the ground. And we're breathing now. You want to find a little bit of squeeze of the glutes, a little bit of squeeze of the front hip flexors to make sure that you're not hyperextending, right? We don't want compression on the spine. We want to get a sense of lengthening gently, especially during an injury or after surgery. Back of the neck is long, tucking the chin in. From this position, keep breathing. We're gonna shorten the hamstring just a little bit. Notice I'm not going all the way to 90 degrees. I'm keeping the heels forward of the knees and then reaching the toes almost to rest on the ground. They can touch the floor, but don't put any weight. And then we're gonna shorten the hamstring, but keep it still relatively long, and then lengthening it a lot, all the way to the maximum range, more or less. Keep the knees squeezing, keep the heels apart. Couple more times. If you ever need to come out of any of these exercises, if you get burned out, of course you can always rest. And again, none of it should give you any pain whatsoever. Yes, it should be challenging. You might feel like you're shaking a little bit. If you need to rest, you simply just maybe turn the head to the side if that feels good. You could also come into a child pose here with the knees wide. Let's try that one more time. So again, we're starting our alignment, toes together, ankles flexed, knees together, heels apart. We're rolling the thighs in. Find the right position for the hip. You may be able to see here I'm overarching and then I'm tucking. I'm squeezing the glutes a little bit, keeping the knees together. Forehead on the ground. Big breaths always. Toes are off the ground. Squeezing the knees. Not all the way to 90. Keep it long. We're just basically bringing some movement to the hamstrings here. If you want to do this with your head off the ground, that's great. Just make sure you're not looking forward, pinching the back of the neck. Keep the back of the neck long by tucking the chin in. Maybe one more. Now, from here, keep it long, weight off the toes, heels apart, squeeze the knees. And if you have your forehead on the ground, here's the chance to try lifting the head off the ground. Not looking forward, tuck the chin. To your own degree, strengthening the back erectors, but not hurting, not overworking them. If you need to come out, you simply relax. You can open the arms to the side, turn the head to the side, or again, you could come to child pose. I would say child pose, if accessible, would be the preference here. In fact, once in child pose, you could even turn and stretch the left side here by walking your hands and torso to the right. To your own degree, it might not be as far as this. Breathing here, finding what kind of stretch you can get, finding what kind of motion you can access, bringing blood flow, breaking down scar tissue, breaking any fascial adhesions here. You can hold it, you can always go back, you can always go a little bit deeper into it. Coming back to center with an exhale. Maybe resetting through middle if you want to. You can go to the other side, maybe different. So go easy, go gentle. Lots of breath. Pulling back, going deeper, your call. 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready, then coming back to center. One last time on your belly. And what we're going to focus here, again, is going to be that internal rotation of the femur, the upper thigh bone. So forehead on the ground, knees together. Yeah, squeeze the knees, and this time we're going to also flex the ankles, but keep the heels right over the knees. We're not on this position with the long hamstring. We were doing this one for the hamstring. Here we're going to do this one for the rotators, external rotators, and the glutes as well. So all we're going to do is squeeze the knees, start with the right side, keep the knees squeezing, and bring your right heel to the right as far as you can. You're rolling your thigh into the hip socket. Come back to center, keep the knees squeezing, keep the ankle flexed, 90 degree at the knees, 90 degree at the ankle. opening it up. Back to center. Switch sides. Squeeze the knees. Left leg now opens to the left and comes back. Keep the knees at 90 degrees. I'm going to show you just one time here, the left leg opening as I squeeze the knees and back in. Right? One more if you like. And then squeeze the knees, both of them together to the side. So right and left open and close. If you find that that is more comfortable for you with the legs a little farther away, then sure, right? You can keep the knee squeezing and the heels a little farther away from your tailbone. Maybe one more. And then slowly release. And again, if child pose is accessible, then bring your knees wide, big toes touching, hips back. You might not be able to go so low. Maybe you can just come here to your forearms. Another good one to do here to kind of reset would be a few cat-cows, arching and rounding. You might not have a lot of mobility here, so just go slow to your own degree. Inhale into open, exhale into close. Try to move from your tailbone like a wave on the inhale. Like a wave, tailbone tucking on the exhale, rounding low back, mid back, chin last. Maybe one more. Okay. And reset back to this tabletop position. Last thing we're gonna do here, right foot steps forward. Now the key here is we want the knee either above the heel or maybe with the heel even a little farther. This foot is gonna turn in. The back foot could either be with the toes pointing back or with the toes tucked, whatever you want. Might be easier at first with the toes pointing back. You can use your hands here, but don't stay low. See if you can extend that hip, lengthen the spine. If this is not accessible and you need to be a little farther forward, that's okay. But just know that we're working on pressing the foot, engaging the glute, and trying to, again, engage the paraspinal muscles here. You can keep your hands. And then, of course, making sure that the hips are neither higher or lower or forward. Trying to find that alignment. You might notice as you fix the hips, maybe the upper body shifts. So trying to, do your best to square the hips, square the knee, and breathe. If this wasn't accessible, it would still be good to do it even if it was here with hand support as well. You could do blocks, yoga blocks work right here. And when you're ready, you can transition, so this right foot will go back and the left foot will come forward. Again, I'm setting my heel at least on top, definitely not back of the knee. So on top or forward, hand supports or not, tuck back toes or straight. Yes, notice the hip. And if you find that your foot is way open out to the side for balance, try to do your best to keep your toes, heel, knee, hip all in the same line, same thing. And then just that front foot turns in ever so slightly. Breathing. When you need to come out of it, you come out of it. Hands down. And if you want to do one last child pose, just hold it here and breathe. If you had plenty of child pose and you want to come back on your back, you simply keep either your knees bent breathing here. Or you could take a full Shavasana, straighten the legs, arms out to the sides, and just simply let yourself relax here on the floor. And you can stay here for as long as you like.